Welcome back to the next vlog. I believe this is vlog number 8. And today is Tuesday, June 4th. And I have some updates for you, as well as a couple of corrections. And then I have a couple of questions to answer. Actually, one question in particular at the end. And it'll be a more in-depth question. So if you want to learn about the teachings from this person's question, and I'm going to be giving some examples from my personal life. Stay till the end. You can hear all about that. So first of all, I want to tell you that Quetzal was again in Billy's office today. It was at least an hour and a half. I don't know. It could have been longer. I don't know when he left. But Quetzal visited with Billy again today on the 4th. And again, we don't know which of these are going to become public and which ones are private. But as I've said before, he has a lot of contacts we don't know about. So Quetzal was there again today. Who knows? Maybe he'll be there tomorrow. So Billy had another contact today. So that's just some updates I wanted to give you. Also, the electrical is fixed. I had to wait till overnight. So I finished all the wiring yesterday. And that junction box, the last one you saw, I wired all that together. Michael got back from Vintertour with the sensor. I mounted that, plugged it all in, and we tested it. We really, for the good test, we had to wait till it gets dark. So I had to wait till overnight, but I came in this morning and all the lights worked and all the cameras worked because there was a camera not working. We fixed that yesterday too. So all the cameras work, all the lights work. They're really happy. So I'm so happy I got to help out with that. With some skills that I've done, in the past. Just the color coding was different. So, woohoo! I'm happy to be able to help out at the community, the free community of interests, and add a little bit in to help on the repair. So that is done and successful. So I'm happy with that, of course. Today, I interviewed Michael Volklander and Christian Freiner. You probably know Michael from the videos he's done on the FIGU channel. He has two, an English YouTube channel and a German YouTube channel, where he's done, interviews and different things. So I interviewed him today. For the core group, there was a set of 21 questions. So I asked the 21 questions to him, and then Christian came in at 2 in the afternoon and went through those questions with him. So we have those two under our belt. So those were completed today as well. And then that's all from today for the updates. I really just did interviews and just sort of closed the loop on the electrical problem for that. And then, of course, Billy had a contact, right? Quetzal was there. Anyway, so that's sort of what happened at the Semiosis Silver Star Center today. I have 2 corrections. So both of these are from Piali. I appreciate you. Thank you for sending me the email. And thank you for making the post. So I just want to cover both those so they're really clear. So Piali sent me an email saying that the book, the German book, Meditation aus klarer Sicht, that's auf German. In English, it's meditation from a clear point of view or from a clear perspective. I don't know what the official translation will be, but it's something like that. It's the second meditation book. She said she was the translator. I did not know that. So Piali, that's outstanding. I didn't know you were a German speaker or you could do translation work. That's that, and a whole book, to let alone a whole book. When I do translations, it's tough for me, and I usually just do, a few sections. If I want to publish it on the website or do a video about it, or if I need some English text, I'll just do some small sections. So I can't even imagine translating a whole book. So thank you for your work on that. We'll all benefit someday. And you also mentioned in your email that 3 people working on the corrections, not just Vivian. I don't want to mention their names because I don't know if they want to be public or not. So, but thank you for that information, man. It's so nice to reach out and do those kinds of things because I don't know. I'm not sure everything that goes on. So, just a clarification email on that is great. So I wanted to set the record straight on that. If I had said, and I could have on accident, Vivian was doing the translation, certainly that would be a mistake. This book was translated by Piali, and Vivian is doing the correction work, and I'm looking forward to reading it when it finally comes out. So Thank you for that. That's correction number one. Correction number two, PLA also posted. It was about the creation energy balls and how they make a decision on where to go. So I guess there's no decision. It's completely random. So let me read this post. It's on the site. If you want to look for it yourself, you can. I'm not going to read the first part. Thank you for this wonderful video. All that. You're welcome. I'm happy to do it. So let me jump down to the second paragraph. I also like to share with you a recent piece of information which I learned about from Harold, updated by Billy himself, and which I also read for a video on this subject made by Harold, that the creation energy balls created by the creation can enter into the fetus of any woman from anywhere in the world, even if she was a member of a primitive tribe or jungle. I didn't know that. That was not my understanding, so this is awesome. How the newborn personality copes with life depends on the evolution of his creation energy, which means that if the personality is able to catch the impulses, then it can bring him out of any difficult situation, perhaps also bring him back to the creation energy teachings again. The process of the creation energy entering a fetus is random, which means that it does not matter which society, community, which region on earth, religion, or race that it enters into. So I'll continue here. When I heard and read that piece of information, I thought that was very interesting, because before, I too knew what you shared with Scott here in this video. I just thought I'd share this bit of information with you. If you get a chance, please verify it and share it with us. Here's the link. I probably won't verify it. It's sort of not my cup of tea, but thank you, Piali, for posting that. I make mistakes like everybody else. I don't have the 100% truth with failure free. So whenever there's a mistake and someone catches it and brings it up, I'm always happy to post that so we all can learn, and me too. So this is great. Thank you, Piali, for your work and your posting of those too. Certainly, really appreciate it. So now to a question. It's from Daniel Flores Calderon. Thank you, Daniel, for writing this. I want to read this, and then I want to go into a little bit of depth on it because I think it's important. Billy Meier books. After watching this video, so the video he's referring to, and you can read this on the site. The video he's referring to is summary of our week together. That's Vivian and I. After watching this video, I felt compelled to share this thought, as I found it a bit surprising. You asked Vivian several questions about her expectations, and you also mentioned your own. So it seemed a bit unusual to me that you, having a clear understanding of the topic of expectations and neutrality, would still have expectations yourself. In some of Vivian's responses, at least based on what I understood from the Spanish subtitles, it seems to me that her answers reflected a more neutral stance without creating expectations. Of course, I may have misunderstood the context or intent behind the questions. I'm not judging or criticizing you at all. This is just a thought I wanted to share with you as part of my process to better understand the subject of expectations and neutrality. Thank you very much for your response and feedback. With warm regards. So, Daniel, I can't say enough about how you think and how you chase down the truth and how you ask questions. I'm really proud and happy that we have this ongoing communication. A year ago, we spent quite a bit of time going back and forth in the forums, Future of Mankind forums. So I appreciate all the time and effort you put into those, translating the stuff back and forth from Spanish to English. It's a lot of work. So let me go into a couple of main points here. So number one, I took your first, or not your first, I took your one sentence here. I want to break it down, and this is it. So it seemed a bit unusual to me that you, and this is point number one, having a clear understanding of the topic of expectations and neutrality, that's point one, and point two, would still have expectations yourself. So there's 2 points to that sentence I want to break down. So the first one is, I do have a clear understanding of the expectations of expectations and neutrality, because I've studied the topic for many years and I've implemented it into my life. I've implemented observation into my life. So from a clear understanding of the topics, expectations and neutrality, I do have a good understanding. And that's why I cover it on here. The observations that I've worked in my life, I use observation to look for non-neutrality, to look for judgments that I'm judging somebody, to look for prejudices, to look for assumptions in my thinking. So all of these things I'm observing in myself. This is what I've implemented in my life. This is why I have maybe a good understanding, a complete understanding of the subject. That's number one. Point number two, I absolutely have expectations and judgments and prejudices and non-neutrality, but to a lesser extent than I did 5 to 10 years ago. So it's not right. It's not right to assume that I don't have these things. Like you said, I'll reread your first point here. It seemed a bit unusual to me that you, having a clear understanding of the topic of expectations and neutrality, which I do, and number two, would still have expectations yourself. I do. I'm not a super being. I haven't learned everything, and I'm still a work in process, a work in progress. So that's the difference I wanted to point out on there. You are right. As we go down in your post, Vivian can be very neutral. I've experienced that. I know how she is. I just spent a week with her, and we've been working together for some time. But she is very neutral. So I think your observation on how neutral she was in the video is absolutely correct. She can have a very neutral perspective, or a very neutral state of neutrality. So you're 100% right on that. Another person, let me just throw this out there, another person who has a very good neutral standpoint is Scott Baxter. This is one of the first things I noticed about him when I got to know him in the early 2000s. And, I think even because of that skill, I think he's done, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, I think he's done a lot of moderating work, at forums and things like that. I've only heard, so I don't know for sure, but that wouldn't surprise me if he did that. The reason for that is he's very neutral. He sees things from a very neutral perspective, much better than me. So I was just using that as another example of somebody who's much better at neutrality than me. And Scott's probably thinking, "Oh man, why did I post that question and get us reconnected?" Just kidding, Scott. But anyway, so Vivian and Scott, are much better at neutrality than I am. Those are just a couple examples I wanted to put out. But I also wanted to give you two personal examples, Daniel. Two personal examples of neutrality in my life. One non-neutral and one neutral. So I just want to give you an example of my thinking and how that takes place, and just for an example. And then all of the other people, a lot of people have commented on the blog and on the YouTube channel lately about neutrality. So I want to continue that theme. And since you brought it up, thank you again. I want to give you two examples from my personal life, so you can see what my thinking process is for that, and maybe using an example, or to see new or different things within yourself. So the first example I was going to give is this project. So this project, the Switzerland project, the project of interviewing the passive members and doing videos with Vivian, this has been in the planning for about 5 months. And it's probably cost me, total trip and, airfare and car rental and all kinds of about $7,000. So it's a significant amount of money. I wrote 18 shows, 18 topics with Vivian. We did 5 review cycles, and we even did a practice Zoom meeting, which was about 2 hours, sort of to practice how things would go. At this point, with so much invested in it, it was almost impossible for me not to have some expectations of how it may go and things like that. So this is how it might turn out. This is my example for myself of how I haven't been neutral, and why, and all the things surrounded it. I had so much invested in it. It was, once I get here, it's difficult to just say, "Oh, okay, everything's planned and ready to go. I'm just going to sort of neutrally go forward and see how things go." That would be the right way to do it. But it's beyond me, right? I'm still working towards that. I'm still observing myself. I'm still working towards a better neutrality, better than I was 5 or 10 years ago. I've come a long way, but I have a long way to go. So that's the first point. The second point, where I was able to be neutral, happened just this week. I'm going to use it for this week because it happened at FIGU. So I was at lunch with another person. I'm not going to give his name. and we didn't really know each other. And he said to me, "Hey, I heard, or didn't you break up uh, two FIGU groups, in the past, cause them to break up and stuff?" And I said yes, and he laughed. He was laughing, so that it didn't feel great. Then he says, "I also heard that you were reprimanded by the Pleiadians in the contact notes. The Pleiadians reprimanded you for that and other things." I said yes, and he laughed again. So, at this point, I just want to forget my lunch and just go take a walk in the forest, right? Um, I feel really bad. It was very hurtful. Maybe I wanted to go cry. I didn't, but it was that type of. I felt that way from just I didn't barely knew the guy. So what happened after that is I caught myself how everything was going, and there was also this. So after this happened, and I'm thinking about it, there was also this voice that came up that said, "Hey, um, he doesn't know very much about the teaching. What does he know? He doesn't know you." All these types of things. This is the ego. This is the ego that steps forward and tries to cover things up to make me feel better. So this is how tricky it can be. So now I've been hurt, right, with words, and I'm not feeling good, and then I have this justification going that, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't know much about the teachings. He certainly doesn't know as much as you. The boost type of thing. And then I caught that again. I caught that and recognized it as my ego stepping forward, saying, "Hey, that's trying to make me feel better, trying to protect from more pricks, more pokes to the ego." So it's another aspect of the ego that sort of comes forward to the front and says, "No, no, no, don't worry. You don't have to worry about it because he doesn't know what he's talking about. Doesn't know the teachings and things like that." So I also caught that, and was able to say, "Hey, no, we're going there." But you know what the ego wants you to do? The ego wants you to jump on board and go, "Yeah, yeah, that's true. He doesn't know what he's talking about," da, 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 and then go jump on the train and then take you off somewhere totally different. That's how the ego works. So I was able to see that as well. And guess what? After lunch, the rest of the day, and even the next day, I treated him totally normal. I acted like nothing ever happened. I treated like a normal human being, and whatever the justification I had, I was nice to him. I ate lunch with him again. I didn't react. I didn't have any kind of reaction or anything like that. So that's an example of being successful at neutrality. So anyway, I just wanted to give you those two examples. The first one where I wasn't able to be neutral with the project, and then on this last example that through my work and through my observation, and I can see when these things come up. When these voices come up or when these different things come up, I have some experience now. I can see what takes place, and I'm able to arrest them and change and not jump on the train and go this way and start to create a reaction like, "What are you talking about? Who are you?" Whatever, those types of things. So I was able to stop that as well. So these are all steps and components of trying to remain neutral. So this is sort of one example I wanted to give you in that realm. So to the point, to the main point, we all have a role to play in this work. So translators, Piali, correctors, doing correction work like Vivian, group members, group organizers all around the world. They're organizing FIGU groups or study groups or whatever you have you. Publishing, posting on YouTube, doing blogs, and many other roles. We all have a role to play when it comes to the teaching of the truth, teaching of the creation energy, and teaching of life. For me, I've taken up a public position. So I've taken up making videos and engaging with the public. And what that does, it allows the public to look up to me. They look up to me and sort of put me on a pedestal and say, "Oh, he knows so much. He's making videos, all this kind of stuff." It's not true. It's absolutely not true, Daniel. So on your point two, I just wanted to make sure that you're putting me on a pedestal that isn't right. For number one, it's not right to do to anybody in any situation. But number two is I do have problems with neutrality. I'm still working towards them. I can't maintain neutrality like you heard sort of said on that. I'm a normal human being like everybody else, just trying to learn the best that I can. But because I've taken up this public position, among all the things that everybody's doing, we're all working together in this big team trying to move the snowball a little bit further forward and down the hill, so it's gathering steam. Because I've taken up this public engagement, people tend to put me and any public figure sort of higher on a pedestal, and it's not right. It's not right. I'm normal like every other human being. And I should also say the core group people, which I know very well, most of them I know very well, there's some newer ones, but people put them on a pedestal too. Like they know more or they're higher evolved because they're around Billy. It's not true. They are absolutely normal human beings. And if you were to line them all up, you're going to find a very wide range of understanding, of study, of commitment, of spiritual evolution, a full range, all the way from very low to very high. You're going to get the whole spectrum. So people that put those people that are right around Billy on a pedestal too, it's also not right. We are all absolutely equal, unique individuals that we're trying to work together, to move everything forward. So that's sort of the main point I wanted to cover on that. There's a second point. The second point on this video, Daniel, I wanted to make. I had a very specific goal with this video, a summary of our week together. And the goal had to do with people in our society today have forgotten how to communicate, or they don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to be direct and honest and respectful when they're talking to other people. And I don't want to go into social media. You all know what that's like, right? When people talk and all the drama that's created. But it's an example. It's an example of the problem. People have lost the ability to respectfully do interpersonal relationships or personal interaction. This is my personal assessment. This isn't from Billy or FIGU or anything like this. This is just my personal assessment. Society has lost the ability to communicate in a respectful, being direct and respectful way. And Vivian and I have a very good working relationship. And I wanted to demonstrate to viewers how that should be done. I wanted to demonstrate how Vivian and I had problems and work through those. Sort of as an example, sort of going against society the way it is now, with our lack of communication and disrespectful and yelling and screaming and just very inhumane things. So with this video, I wanted to demonstrate how Vivian and I resolve problems and do things like that in honest, respectful, and direct communications. And you saw we could all see some of the comments, right? A couple of commenters put in there, this made me feel uncomfortable, watching this. I know, I know that. That's why I made that video, is because that's the way things are. Those commenters are representative of a large section of society. And that was the purpose behind this video, is I wanted to show how two people from different cultures, a man and a woman, different sexes, different understandings, different education, could come together, work together for a week, and be successful at a project. And to illustrate how we got through different problems. And if you notice carefully, Daniel, in that video, as we get partway into it, Vivian isn't responding, right? She's being very neutral, like you said. So I had to dial it up a little bit. You'll probably notice at some point in there I've become a little bit more loud, because I needed to create some friction, some disagreement, something like that, to show how it's resolved. So if you look at the subtleties of it, you'll see that she's just being very neutral, like you say. She's very neutral and she's very good. But I had to dial it up a little bit to get the reaction, or to get the heat turned up a little bit. So that was the purpose behind this video. I mean, we certainly, there's no actual lesson behind it. We were just talking about our experiences and things. But my personal goal with that was to show how things could be done. Interpersonal relationships, how problems are solved, resolved, mitigated with respect. So that's the second point. Hopefully, I've covered everything on your 2 points. I really appreciate, Daniel, everything that you do, everything that you post, and all the really good, deep, and important questions that you ask. So thank you again. Thank you, everyone, from Billy Meier Books. Thank you for being a subscriber. Thank you for following along on my blog. That's all updates I have for you today, and we'll see you on the next vlog. Thanks again.